her off. Flying through the hallway like a disco ball. Pitching to the couch, then I loop through the fan. My tiny whoop's grooving like a funky jam. I dip through the doorway, spin by the cab, bounce off the toaster, yeah, I meant to do that. Neighbors knocking, saying, what's that sound? It's my brush motor soul train getting down. Flying through the curtain, dancing on breeze. Freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic, bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight. Can't stop it all. I got LED strobes and a shag rug trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoop's got rhythm, my sticks got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remotes a gate, the lamps a dive. I'm flying like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. Move it low, move it low. We fly that flow, move it low. Grab that gap, no time to nap, no time to nap. Hit that roll, funk and control, funk and control. Bounce that wall, bounce that all. We fly it all, funk it all. We fly it all. Tiny whoop love, funky and free. We fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoop's got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that splitter over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all. Can't stop at all. Can't stop at all.
Greetings, cretins. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday, where we're going to build an indestructible whoop. Sorta. Nothing's indestructible, but the main thing, the most common failure point by a factor of 1,000, is the motor shafts on tiny whoop motors, which are typically 1 millimeter up above the bell. Which is where they bend. Believe it or not, they're 1.5 millimeters down below the bell. And so, what's kind of funny about that, right? With 3-inch builds and 5-inch builds and whatnot, freestyle basher builds, we will typically, more often than not, will bend the motor shaft in between the bell and the stator. And then what happens is the bell wobbles, right? That's how you can tell if you've bent the motor shaft below or above the actual bell itself, right? So you've got your motor bell, and then you've got your motor shaft, just like in this model. Below the motor bell, it's thicker than above. This is 1 millimeter, this is 1.5 millimeter. And so with tiny whoop motors, we almost always bend the bell up here. And so the propeller will wobble, but the bell will not. Bigger builds, they'll have the same thickness motor shaft all the way through, and we'll bend the motor shaft here, and that'll cause the entire bell to wobble around. You'll see it on your rig. It'll just be wobbling back and forth. It bends it right above the stator, or sometimes it can break the bearing that sits in here. But yeah, the most common failure, hands down, is the motor shaft getting bent. Weebleed has had 1.5 millimeter bells for like a year now. I ordered a bunch, and then they sent me a bunch of extras. These are 1.5 millimeters all the way through. The problem has been a lack of propellers. The only good propeller that was available, there have been a couple, but the best propeller up until very recently was the old school Gemfan biblade, the 1210. And that prop is okay. When that prop came out 3-4 years ago, it was unbelievable. Like, it blew all of the other propellers out of the water. But since then, a whole bunch of other props have come out, namely the HQ ultralights. And propellers are the one thing in FPV that just gets better and better and better. Significantly better, too. And so we haven't had, like, and so I've done builds, I've done Indestructible tiny whoop builds using those 1210 props, but they've always been, like, not the best, sort of let down by the propellers. Very recently, Weebleed has had, right now there's one, but it's looking like there's going to be another one, 2 of the newer school, better performing propellers made with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, thanks to Gemfan. Right now, we've got the 1219S, which is like a 1.5 to 2-year-old propeller. It's pretty good, though. There's some racers that swear by that propeller. The brand new Gemfan propeller, the 1207, is on Weebleed's website. In the 1207 listing, in the drop-down, there's a 1.5 millimeter inner diameter option, but it's sold out for the time being. So I'm assuming that they're just not done yet. And so we'll have both a high pitch and a low pitch option. 1219, that's a fairly high pitch tiny whoop propeller. 1207, that's a low pitch tiny whoop propeller. The 1207, here's what I will say. I'm more excited by the 1219 because the 1219 propeller is very durable. The 1207 propeller is not durable. It performs amazing, but it's not a very durable prop. Like, it performs better than the 1219 because it's really, really lightweight. And so it'll still be a really good choice. The problem with it from a durability standpoint is the propeller blades. You've got your hub, and then you've got your propeller blade connected to it. The connection point between the round hub and the propeller blade is just a little bit too fragile. Very similar to the Nubidur and Azzy props. But here's what'll happen with that. You run those propellers on a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. Yes, you're going to bend the propeller blades up, and you're going to have to switch the propellers out, but you're not going to have to switch your motors out, right? And, like, that's a big deal. If you want, like, as close as you can possibly get to an Indestructible tiny whoop, you're going to run the 1219s. I mean, or I guess you could run the 1210 biblades, but don't do that. You're going to run the 1219s. You're going to run Weebleed or tiny whoop 0702. Hey, we're talking about indoor tiny whoops here, by the way. 1.2 inch props, 65 millimeters motor to motor. Yeah, you're going to run tiny whoop or Weebleed 0702, 32,500, 40,000 kV. I'm trying to think what kV tiny whoop has. Those are the 2 kVs that Weebleed has. I forget what KV Tiny Whoop has, but they do have, I'm 99% sure they have an 0702 that's relatively high KV with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft above the bell. And so, yeah, we've got at least the two We Bleed motor options are fantastic, 40,000 kV and 32,500 kV. If those numbers sound really high to you, what you need to understand is that Happy Model, We Bleed, and Tiny Whoop motors are all, the KV is calculated differently than everybody else's motors. And what it leaves us with is KV numbers that are really, really high. So a We Bleed 40,000 kV motor is pretty much on par with a Newbie Drone or RCN Power or Beta FPV 30,000 kV motor. If you want to get really in the weeds, Beta FPV seems to have, they seem to be in the middle. We Bleed is over here. Their numbers are really high. We Bleed seems to be in the middle. RCN Power, VCI, Newbie Drone, they seem to be, I would say, like right around here. They kind of understate their KV. Beta FPV, I think, is the closest to reality, and then We Bleed overstates their KV. They're not doing it on purpose. They're just using a different method at calculating KV. And so, yeah, keep that in mind. But the long and short of it is, the We Bleed 32,500 kV motor is awesome. That is like one of the best all-around motors that you can get. It's just enough power. It's not too much power. Awesome efficiency. Great motor. If there's any doubt in your mind, just get that motor and you'll be really happy with it. That's my favorite. Tiny Whoop makes the Moon Traveler, which is an 0702 32,000 kV. I got those when they first came out like 2 years ago, and in the last 2 years, so the We Bleed 0702 32,500, I can't tell the difference between the two of them. That's been my favorite motor ever since it came out. I've tested, I think, every single other Tiny Whoop motor, and they've all got like a little benefit here, a little benefit here, something that I don't like here, something I don't like there. Every single time I go back to those 0702 32,000, 32,500 kV motors, it's just right. Like, it's just enough power. It's not too much power. Too much power when you're flying indoors makes these things even harder to fly. It's very fun, don't get me wrong. Like, coming all the way to one side of the room here, hammering it, and having it go just balling across the room, and then, like, struggling to get it to not hit the wall. It's hysterical. But, like, it's hysterical for 5 minutes, and then it's like, okay, well, I kind of want to fly now and, like, do some Matty flips and power loops and shit. And so, yeah, it kind of gets old fast. The 0702 Happy Model, Tiny Whoop, We Bleed, 32,500 kV motor. Man, it's just so good. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. You can also get their 40,000 kV motor in the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. I don't have a set at the moment, but I do have the bells. And so on a future live stream, I will take 4 of these bells. What's really annoying about this is I've done this already. I took a set of their 40,000 kV, their old school 40,000 kV motors, which were only offered with the 1 millimeter motor shaft. And I swapped a full set of them over to these bells. And then I forget why, but I swapped them back. And so now I'm going to swap them back again, which is kind of insane. I should have left them, but, you know, hindsight, of course, is always 20/20. So, yeah, on a future live stream, we will be doing that. We will build another set of 1.5 millimeter motor shaft 40,000 kV motors. If you're going to buy them, you don't have to worry about doing this, but I am going to do it on stream so that I can show you how to remove the C-clips or E-clips, whatever you want to call them, where the washers sit, how to do a bell swap on a Tiny Whoop motor without ruining it. And so, yeah, I've got a set of the motors right here and a set of the bells right here. I'm going to put them in my little on-deck circle over here as a reminder that we need to do that on a future live stream. But tonight, we're doing the 32,000s because I have a set of the motors. These ones came out first. The 32,500s with the 1.5 mil shaft, these came out first. So we're just going to use these. I have a set of these, and I like these the best. So, yeah, that's the plan for tonight. We're going to use a 2G4 flight controller because I've never found a flight controller for a tiny whoop that is even remotely this durable. The new Beta FPV Matrix with no front mounting point maybe is as durable. I love that it has 12 amp FETs. I love that it has black box on board, but it has not been out long enough, and one of the two that I've been running is starting to act really weird. And so I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be as durable as the 2G4s. I have 2G4s that I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of batteries through with thousands of crashes because I've crashed at least 5 to 10 times per battery. And they just don't die. They're absolutely extraordinary. Happy Model gave us a real gift with this 2G4 flight controller. You can still get these. This is an older flight controller, 5 amp FETs, no black box. But like I said, extreme durability. Motor plugs, it's even got a camera plug. So this is a flight controller that's almost solderless, depending on what... I don't know what plug they come with. I don't know if they come with an A30. They certainly don't come with one of these. This is a really cool tiny whoop 180 degree BT 2.0 plug that has little LEDs on it, which are really cool. So you're obviously not going to get it with one of these, but it might come with an A30 plug, at which point it's solderless, which is really, really cool. If it comes with a PH2 2.0 plug, then you are going to have to solder, but you're only going to have to solder 2 joints, and they are through holes, so they're nice and strong. Yeah, the 2G4 is absolute magic. Anybody that's run one for anybody who's blown up, who crashes a lot and has blown up a bunch of tiny whoop AIOs, when they finally get their hands on a 2G4, they're like, okay, wow, yeah, got it. It's a real thing. It's crazy. So yeah, that's the plan for tonight. On the intro, you were watching the maiden of the AOS Cine 30. We've been doing this build. This is going to be the primary live broadcast rig that I fly this year with 04 Pro at the American Criterium Cup cycling events. Yeah, it's got the Acon 60 amp AIO in it, 04 Pro, the DJI antennas. I'm using the AOS block here for antennas, and I did something kind of cool. They put 3 holes in this block. They put 2 outside holes here for if you want to run the double antennas on the 04 Pro, and then they put 1 single hole in the middle here if you're going to run the single antenna from 03. But what I realized is that these the receiver on this is the XR4 Nomad. And what I realized is that the plastic bastard on the side of the Nomad, it's kind of hard to see it, it fits perfectly in that center hole. It doesn't like hold it in there, so I just glooped some E6000 up in there, and so now I've got a beautiful vertical antenna, and then I'm using License to Drive Haku 3D's universal drop-down mount, but on the top, so that when I'm chasing these cyclists, they're going 30, 40 miles an hour, and so these things are like stood up to keep up with them. And so with it stood up like that, this horizontal antenna is the highest point. And so I can fly towards myself, away from myself, and it's always the highest point. If I had it on the drop down, then when I'm flying back towards myself, the antenna would be where my finger is, which is behind a bunch of carbon fiber. So putting it up on the top is really, really cool. I run 4S 650, 850 batteries on here, and so the battery is only about that long. It doesn't get in the way of that antenna. So this thing has every possible chance of never fail-safing. and giving the best quality video to the TV truck, regardless of how far down I go. These gigs are live broadcast gigs in general are pretty challenging. You've got a ton of spectators, and they're all hammering away on their cell phones. You've got wireless microphones. You've got wireless, like, $20,000+ cameras on all the corners of the racetrack circuit. It's an incredibly noisy RF environment. And so Nomad is the perfect choice for that, but Nomad, is only as good as the antenna placement. I mean, in general, when it comes to, sending signals through the air, antenna placement is the absolute most important thing. And this antenna placement here is about as good as it gets. I've got the one vertical at a 45-degree angle so that it's perfectly vertical when I'm flying around. And then I've got this horizontal guy. The null from this vertical is totally crushed by this horizontal. The null from the horizontal is totally crushed by the vertical. Doesn't get any better than this. The DJI antennas, this is about as good as it's going to get. It's really difficult to get DJI antennas in that 90-degree orientation. And so having them left and right like this is about as good as you're really going to get. The main thing, though, is the transmitter link. I always want the controller link to outrun the video. That way, when the video starts to glitch and block up a little bit, it's time to come the hell home. Versus if the video system is stronger than your receiver, you don't get any real warning other than your link quality and RSSI. Speaking of, I'm having the weirdest problem on this. I'm not getting any link quality or there's no telemetry coming back from the XR4. I've never run into that before. I've been thinking about. I realized it like a couple hours ago, and I've been thinking about it, and I'm just like, I have no idea. Like I don't know how how that's possible. I guess maybe it's a setting on the XR4, but like, I don't think I've ever had that before. So I haven't, like I said, I only realized this a couple hours ago. I gotta do a little bit of searching and thinking about it, but yeah, very weird. Everything else is fine, but it's just not getting telemetry back into the flight controller, or the flight controller is not I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird. Like, I don't understand how the receiver is making a link and allowing me to fly the damn thing, but then right? Like, there's no very weird. I mean, I guess maybe the telemetry is blown up on the receiver. I don't know. I got to do a little bit of searching and digging. I've never had that happen before. But yeah, it flies great. The motors that I went with are these old school iFlight Zing 1504 3800s. And at the moment, I'm using HQ old school 3x3x3 props because they're very well balanced. I'm going to do a bunch of propeller testing, and I think these motors have enough kV. I would rather have a motor with 4,500 kV like my previous builds. I would always rather have a little bit extra. But with a 3-inch propeller, it's, those previous rigs were on 2.5-inch props. Going from a 2.5-inch prop to a 3-inch prop is a big jump. And so, yeah, I'm going to leave these motors on for the time being, test them with a bunch of different propellers. I'm actually going to find a little road somewhere with no traffic, and I'm going to have Maggie go 40 miles an hour down the road, and I'm going to chase her around to see how hard I'm pushing these, what throttle I'm at to go 40 miles an hour. So yeah, we'll see. I could also just throw it. This mount has these two little loops on the back where you can put a little GPS on here. I could do that, but I won't. So yeah, this thing is pretty much done. I've had it apart a couple times. I've got a bunch of the TPU on here. It's looking good. I printed these little bumpers for up top. And then I've got these guys on the bottom. So it's safe. It's good to go. I just need to get, 40, 50 batteries through it before I fly it on, I think it's April 10th is the first event of the season this year that they hired me on for. So yeah, that's what you were watching on the intro itself. In the chat, B-Bird was first, Flankadelic was next, Sleepy CBR, McShaky, Frank Dr. Nicholas, Giddybots, Nyafu, Mr. Clean, Fizz PV, Nathan Wells, El Chingon for the win, Whoop Fox, Uke, Queem FPV, Newborn, Hey Ryan, Mick Mucus, Danzil, the Terrible, Capital C, Dagool, J-Tux, Jimmy the Cow, Cowboy with a Camera, and Willow if you want the Gangly Gang. No, I'm not the Gangly Gang, I'm the Gangly Man. To read your name, get into the chat early and say hi, or ask me a question. Type at CiottiFPV and I'll read your chat comment. Jimmy the Cow says moo. Tag me and says moo. You Can FPV says, I've been using the 1219s and they've been fun so far. You Can FPV says, I swapped the motors on my Air 65 V2 to those We Bleed 40,000s and it doesn't seem to fly as good. Same props, just the 1.5mm shaft. Depending on which Air 65 V2 you got, you might have lost a little bit of power. The We Bleed 40,000s are pretty close in power to the Beta FPV 0702 30,000s, but they might have a little bit less power. If you got the Air 65 V2 with the 36,000 kV motors, yeah, there's no contest there. Those new Beta FPV 36,000 kV motors are the most powerful motors of all time with on Tiny Whoops. So that's probably what you're noticing there. BMF Spade says, where did you get that model motor that you always show us? Timmons made it for me, and he put the 3D file for it in the 3D printing Discord channel on my Discord, which is one of the free channels open to everyone. It's not one of the Patreon only channels. If you want full Discord access, though, it's going to cost you $3 whole a month. It's going to allow me to keep doing this so that Discord can continue to exist. Over on CiottiFPV.com is a link to the Discord, a link to my Patreon. There's a link to my Etsy store. I just put a whole bunch of stuff up in the Etsy store, a whole bunch of frames, actually. 65mm, 75mm Tiny Whoop frames. The Etsy store is one of the best ways you can support me. You're getting yourself something, and you're supporting the guy that, hopefully tells you what not to buy so you don't waste your money. So that's a great way to support me there. There's also a Fiverr channel over there, or you can just message me and we'll work together one-on-one. If you want to learn a lot, build something that's absolutely perfect for you, that's your best bet. There's a bunch of affiliate links over there. Change your bookmarks to affiliate links. You have to hit affiliate links over and over and over and over again. So change your bookmarks to someone's affiliate links, or if you don't use bookmarks, remove your suggestions in your URL bar. So like if you go to regularoldamazon.com all the time, type Amazon, it'll suggest regularoldamazon.com, and then you can click the X or right click and remove that suggestion, and then hit someone's Amazon affiliate link a few times in a row, and then your browser will suggest that affiliate link every time you type AMA for Amazon. I have about 15 different affiliate links, I think. Start doing them one at a time, and you'll support people that, you want to support, that make stuff for you to watch here on YouTube for free without even thinking about it. When you click an affiliate link, it sticks around for about a week. And then it gets cleared out. And then when you check out, it kills that affiliate link. So you literally have to hit them over and over and over again. Those are how you support those of us that are here on YouTube making stuff for you to watch and enjoy and have a good time. Cool. Cole FPV says, I'm pretty sure my Synolog 30 is 3850 kV on 3-inch. 4500 is not that much more than that. Totally justified. Yeah, 3850 is arguably perfect. Like 3850 on a tri-blade 3-inch propeller. In 99% of scenarios, it's going to be plenty of power. I've been doing these live broadcast gigs for 4 years now, I think, 3 or 4 years. And every once in a while, the wind is really bad. I think the worst scenario was in Miami Beach. A bunch of football guys threw a whole bunch of money at and created the NCL, the National Cycling League, sort of like NFL, right? And they did a full season of events. I think they did 5 events, and I flew 3 of the 5. The 2 that I didn't fly, one that I didn't fly was in Washington, D.C. When when they sent me the schedule and I saw that there was one in Washington D.C., I replied back. I was like, well, I won't be flying that one. And they're like, why? I'm like, you just can't. You just can't fly anything in D.C. And then unbelievably, the other event that I didn't fly was fucking here in Atlanta, because they held it at the Porsche Experience Center, which is like 10 feet from the airport. And it is literally right down the barrel of, I think, a landing zone. It's ridiculous. I put a waiver in, and the waiver got denied in like 24 hours. It was wild. I knew that it wasn't going to happen. Well, once they told me where it was going to be, I was like, and I looked it up on the map. I'm like, oh yeah, that ain't happening. Like it is right now. There's nothing in between the Porsche Experience Center and Hartfield Airport. And so, yeah, I didn't fly those two events, but one of the events that I did fly was in Miami Beach, and it was just ridiculous. I'd never been to Miami Beach. What a fucking cool place. But it's the beach, and so the wind is nasty. And so this is when I was on these 2.5-inch builds, and I'd spent a good amount of time figuring out the most powerful propellers and all that jazz, because 2.5-inch props are tough. They don't make tons of thrust. And I was running T-Motor 1404, 4500 kVs, or no, I think are 4600 kV, on these Azure 2.5-inch props, actually, which I've always had motor limited down a little bit. I've never needed full power. I've always motor limited it to like 80%, 90% or so. At one point in Miami Beach, the wind was coming head fucking on, and there were moments where I felt like I was just pushing into the wind and not even going anywhere. I was going somewhere, but I was chasing cyclists that were going 30 plus miles an hour. And that was a perfect example where I was able to just land, flip into the OSD, and kick that motor limiting all the way up to 100% and be able to really mash against that wind. And so I would love to have that extra RPM on this 3-inch build. Even if I could get like 4,000 or 4,100, it would be awesome. But I'm hoping that when I test some different propellers, these HQ 3x3x3s, that's a pretty pitchy propeller, but there's also like the Gemfan 3052, and there's one other 3-inch propeller that's really pitchy. I'm hoping that those props will give me enough to have that extra little bit of leeway. If I don't have the leeway to motor limit it down a little bit, then, you know, the next build I'm doing is the 3.5-inch build. That'll certainly have the power. So God forbid I'm in a situation where I have a nasty headwind, I can just drop the 3-inch rig and pick the 3.5-inch rig up, and that thing will hammer. That's getting T-Motor 1604 3800s, which I'm going to try to run on 3.5-inch bi-blades, but I'll certainly have a bunch of 3.5-inch tri-blades with me. And I mean, the 3.5-inch tri-blades are monsters. They make so much power. So that rig will be a really nice backup. Maybe the 3-inch rig, it'll be at 100% motor limiting with a little bit less kV than I want. Maybe it's like ultra efficient. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. The 2.5-inch setups, like when the riders are sprinting, it's just like the sound coming off of it is something else. It's just screaming. You can hear how inefficient it's sort of being when I'm trying to keep up with them at 35-40. So yeah, this is cool. I've been flying the same builds for the entire time, and like the year 1, year 2, I was testing a bunch of stuff and it was kind of fun. But then I sort of found the perfect setup, and I stopped changing things, and it's, you know, now I got and of course I get the itch when that happens. I'm like, there's got to be something better. So yeah, should be fun. CiottiFPV says, I got the freestyle with the lowest KV. I'm thinking the 40,000s are finally starting to get beat up. Oh, could be, sure. If they're not yeah, the 1mm motor shafts, after, I mean, it depends on how often and how hard you crash, but they get bent up and they don't make the same power. That's for sure. A fresh set of motors is a magical thing. It's always mind-blowing when I pop a fresh set of the same motors onto a rig. that I've been flying for a while, the difference is always pretty bananas. Guess what time it is, friends? I've actually condensed. That's from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to Mighty Car Mods. They're the best car and four-wheel driving channel on the internet. Mighty Car Mods fans will get that joke. They're not a four-wheel drive channel. They're a car channel. This is two orders, actually. This is a Weebleed order and a Pyrodrone order together in one. I don't remember what came from where, but I'm pretty sure these came from Pyrodrone. These are Happy Model 1202.5 11,500 kV motors. These are the only 1202.5s that I could find in stock in the US. I'm afraid that these are gonna not be as durable. So the Happy Model 1103 motors don't seem to be as durable as some of the other 1103 motors out there. I'm afraid that these aren't going to be as durable as some of the other 1202.5 motors out there. I know these will be more durable than the 1103s though, because when you go from an 11 millimeter wide stator motor to a 12 millimeter wide stator motor, the motor shaft below the bell goes from 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters. And you can literally see it in these motors. You can see where above the bell, the motor shaft, this is one of the easiest ways to tell how big your motor shafts are, is just to look straight down at the bell. And sometimes you can just see at the base of the motor shaft there that it's thicker where it meets the bell. It doesn't get thicker where it meets the bell and then get thinner again below the bell. It stays like that. So that is 2 millimeters down there where it meets up with the bell, and then all the way down through the bottom. You can also just put a set of calipers down here. But yeah, that's what a 2 millimeter. I've been doing this so long that I can literally look at the bottom here and tell you what if it's 1.5 or 2 or 3 or 4. But yeah, that is what a 2 millimeter motor shaft looks like down below the bell. And then since this is set up for T-mount propellers, it necks down to 1.5 millimeters up here. What's really cool about the other thing that I like about these 1202.5, 1202 motors is that the majority of them are T-mount, are set up for T-mount. And when you put T-mount screws down through a propeller, you're never going to bend the motor shaft above the bell. The T-mount screws are so strong and threaded down through there that they take all of the stress off of the motor shaft. Alternatively, if you were to run this motor and use a propeller that doesn't have T-mount holes in it, or if you weren't using the T-mount screws because you wanted to save a little bit of weight, you're going to break this motor shaft. They break pretty easily when they have to deal with all of the abuse, because these motors, you're going to put on something bigger, right? You're going to put it on like a 2-inch or a 2.5-inch open prop build, or like a big heavy 2-inch whoop, right? You're going to put it on something with more weight, and then it's going to really hit when you crash, and it's going to break the motor shaft. If you're not breaking motor shafts, then you're just not crashing hard enough. Do better. Crash harder. It's fun. It's part of the game, damn it. So yeah, I'm really excited for these. I'm going to put these onto the 2-inch Baby Turtle Pro with 04 light to see if, and I'm going to change the propellers over. These are the GemFan 2023 S propellers that don't have provisions for T-mount screws. On here right now are the RCN Power 1003 10,000s, which don't have T-mount screw holes in them. I flew this thing in Florida in the wind, and it was pretty good, but it was getting pushed around quite a bit, and there was some jello, and I wasn't totally happy with it. These motors are going on here to see if that, I'm going to try to wait for like a windy day here. And I'm going to fly it on this. Luckily, these have motor plugs on them. Since this is 2S, the motor plugs become less of a bottleneck because the amps have come down from the higher voltage. These RC and powers are on motor plugs, so I can do this motor swap really, really quickly, put it up in the air, fly a couple batteries in the wind, hopefully it judders around like it was in Florida, swap these motors on and see if it's any better. These are 1202.5, these are 1003. 1202.5 has significantly more stator volume. That will give me better response time. When the wind hits these things and they push back against the wind, if you get any kind of wobbling or juddering, that's potentially because you don't have enough response time. You don't have quick enough response time. One of the best ways to get quicker response time, well, the best way to get quicker response time is to go to a more powerful motor. The second best way is to go to a higher kV motor. I haven't tried that yet. I don't think I have any higher kV 1003s floating around. The third best way to fix that situation is PID tuning, filter tuning. In that order, though. The mechanical system is always the best thing to kind of go after initially. So, yeah, this thing's going to get a little bit more work done to it. I'm really excited. If these motors don't help that behavior, these are probably going to go on the 2.5-inch rig. So, yeah, we'll see. Cool stuff coming. I've got the propellers waiting, ready to go. Might as well put the motors over there with it. I got another grappler, yo. I'm so excited. Grappler life has continued. I think this is my favorite way of pulling tiny whoop propellers, because these little wire bastards go around the propeller itself, and then you pull them into the hub, and then the pin pushes on the motor shaft. So you've got the little loops grabbing onto the propeller, and then you're pushing down on the motor shaft. That is absolutely the least stressful way to pull a prop off of tiny whoop motors. If you haven't flown tiny whoops for very long, the motor shafts can bend so easily. You can bend them even when you're pulling the props off or putting the props on. 1 millimeter shaft is just not enough. Ask your ex, she'll tell you. And so, yeah, having a propeller puller so the other really popular propeller pullers have a set of forks and then the same kind of pin, but the set of forks, you got to jam in between the motor bell and the propeller itself. And when you're jamming those forks in there, you just inherently, you have to be side loading the propeller. And so, like, as you're putting those forks in there, it is putting a bending force on that motor shaft. This does not. The Propeller also does not, but the Propeller pulls, there's no pin on the Propeller to push down on the motor shaft. And so with the Propeller, you're pulling the entire motor bell. It's fine, because what you're really pulling against is this C-clip, right? The prop is on here. The Propeller loops under the propeller, and then so you're basically just pulling on this. And so as long as you're holding on to the frame, then all you're putting the force on is this C-clip down here, which is infinitely kind of stable. I will sometimes make the mistake, though, when I'm pulling props with the Propeller, of grabbing the bell. And when you grab the bell and then you pull on the propeller, that's another way that you ruin these motors. You break the laser welds in between the motor shaft and the bell. And so if you were to pull on this shaft really hard and you're holding onto the bell, you can very easily break that laser weld. So yeah, the grappler is really cool. It's the safest way of removing props. The Propeller is a close second, as long as you hold on to the frame instead of the bell of the motor. But the Propeller is fiddly. You gotta like get it under the thing, and like eventually you get used to it. But the grappler is just awesome. I love this thing. I had a prototype one, and there was the threads got kind of messed up. This is removable. You get a four-prong version of it included for pulling bi-blades or quad blades. and the threads got a little boogered up, and I was like cranking the one on, and it just separated. It's 3D printed. It separated the 3D prints, and I was super sad. And they were out of stock, so I couldn't get another one. I thought it was maybe discontinued. But yeah, they came back out. I'm just going to leave this 3-prong head on here. I'm not going to use this 4. I'm going to use the Propeller for bi-blades. Bi-blades I'm going to pull with the Propeller. Tri-blades I'm going to pull with this. You can pull some tri-blades with the Propeller, but like Azzy props, the new Gemfan 1207s, this is only really designed to pull on 2. And so it'll bend the blades. That's one of the ways I know how fragile those blades are on the 1207s, is that when I remove them with the Propeller, it ruins the propeller. The HQ ultralights, it typically doesn't ruin the propeller when you pull with the Propeller. So yeah, there you go. That's how you remove tiny propellers safely. It matters. You know, these motors aren't free, and it's very easy to destroy the motors, putting props on, taking props off. Weebleed sent me a couple of their Weebleed Red Air 65 V2 frames, the Champion Edition and the regular Air 65 2. I actually have a bunch of these, but it's nice to have a couple more. Massive shout out to Zotek for that. Very cool of him as always. He's been a huge supporter for a long time. Very, very kind. I got a bunch of propellers. Bunch of empty bags here is what I've got. Here are the 1219s with the 1mm hole. He sent me some extras, so I've got 2 sets of these that are going to be in giveaways coming up here. He also sent me some stickers, as he always does. This is a cool one, all holographic and shit. Whoop Group. He sent me this shirt, which is this very cool blue color. And like, I don't know who makes this shirt, but this is like the thickest, nicest t-shirt I think I've ever gotten. There's one of his Band-Aids, which always make me giggle. One of his Weebleed Red Air 65 V2 canopies, G-string banana hammock canopies. Love these as well. These have been holding up really, really well for me. Weebleed sells the grappler, Danzilla. Here's my big bag of 1219S propellers. I take all the propellers out of the bags and dump them into one bag, and then I save these bags to use around the house. From Pyrodrone, I got an extra set of these HQ Ultralight 1.6 by 1.2 bi-blades because I'm running out. And these are my favorite for low-powered 1.6-inch builds, like the 1S builds. Gemfan 35mm 1.5-inch bi-blades. I almost ran out of these, and I'm screwing around flying the 1.4-inch rigs a little bit more lately. And then Zotek sent me the other 1.5mm motor shaft 1.2-inch prop, which are like I said earlier, the Gemfan 1210s. I have tons of these, so these will probably go into a giveaway with these 1219s. I'll cut this pack in half and mix them in with the 1219s, so you'll have both. Whoever wins will have both options. He sent me a couple of his little Anoyatrons, little Weebleed Anoyatrons. These will go in with the giveaways as well. I ordered a this is from Pyrodrone, True RC right-hand circular polarized 75. I think this is 75mm Singularity for the Max Frames M2. This guy, the ORT Micro V is fine on here, but this is so fast, and like with ELRS you can go forever. I want this to have a better antenna, and having a CP antenna really does make a difference. So I also printed out a bunch of purple for this. So this is going to change from light blue to purple by the next time you see it. So that'll be kind of fun. So yeah, you go with you. And then I ordered a couple of red ORT Micro Vs in the really short length. These are 3.5 centimeters, 35 millimeters. And then, I'm actually, let me get these on the charger. Weebleed now sells a 340 mAh 1S BT 2.0 battery. It's 340, right? Yeah, 340. And I'm going to put these on the charger right now so that we can fly them tonight and see how they are. I've got 280 mAh Lava V2s charged up. I've got 320 mAh Lava V2s charged up. And now I'm about to charge some of these guys. I'll probably do a whole live stream comparing these 3 batteries because they're the 3 newest batteries. But you'll get a sneak peek tonight. I'm probably going to be in such a rush by the end of the stream that by the time I'm flying, that I won't like really dive into the batteries. But you'll get to see like the amount of flight time that we get on them. When I disarm, you'll get to see what RPM they turned. I'll try to remember to go upstairs and do a full throttle blast at least a couple times. So yeah. And then last, but obviously not least, because it cost me a bloody fortune, is another one of these Acon 60 amp AIOs. This is for the Cine 3.5 build, the next live broadcast build that I'm doing. I also just got another XR4 in. I thought that I had extra of both of these, but apparently not. But yeah, this is the Cine 3.5. I'm going to pull the VTX out of the Avata Killer and swap it into here because the VTX in the Avata Killer is paired to this camera. And so I'm going to yank that out of there. But thanks to Capsy, he sold me his 04 Pro. He had an 04 Pro new in box. Fly High has 04 Pros on their way. And so as soon as those come in, I'm going to order one and have it shipped to Capsy. Massive thank you to him for hooking me up so that I can get this thing done. I've got the receiver I need, the AIO I need now. So yeah, probably Friday's live stream will be diving into this and more than likely soldering these 1604 motors up to this AIO to get this thing going. This will be kind of cool. Every time I do a fresh build, there's a lot, I'm such a goddamn perfectionist that, I spend a lot of time going back and forth, how do I want to wire this? Where do I want this, what 3D prints do I want for it? This is kind of nice right now because I figured all that shit out on the Cine 30. So this build will go a lot quicker. Although I did just realize that the DJI antennas are not long enough for that build. That build is bigger because it's 3.5-inch build. And so I now need to panic order tonight on Pyrodrone a great big long antenna or two for that'll actually fit in that damn thing. So that was a little bit unexpected, but that's the way it goes. So yeah, that's what's going on. I'm actually going to open these 35 millimeter micro V's and put them in the little on deck spot there. I might actually use one of them tonight, although I think these are too short for the 2G4. The 2G4 puts the UFL plug all the way up front, and that's what I had my custom 46 millimeter antennas made for. It's like the perfect length for the canopy that we're running tonight and that front mounting point. Some of these other AIOs are now moving that UFL farther back on the board. And so I'm hoping that these, so like the Air 65 V2, for example, the canopy is like lower, it's smaller than the old school Mobula 6 canopy, and that UFL mounting point is pulled back, so you don't need as aggressive of a, that's the wrong word. You don't need as long of an antenna wire. Aggressive. That's a weird word. So yeah, there we are. So yeah, some giveaways coming up, some cool stuff coming. Shout out to Weebleed for throwing in some extra stuff, as they always do. And thank you to Pyrodrone for just always being awesome. Pyrodrone, many of you probably don't know this, but Pyrodrone has refused to support the war effort from day one. When Pyrodrone started getting orders for 10 and 15 and 20 and 50 bind and flies, they said no. Like, it was obvious what was being done with them, and they would cancel those orders. And that's meant a lot to me. And so as much as I love GetFPV, and it's nice that I have an affiliate link there that I myself can use, yeah, less people dying, and like, the future of our hobby being a little bit more secure is kind of more important to me than that. But hey, that's just me, So cool. I got a little pile for giveaways. I don't think we're not gonna have time to do a giveaway tonight, but we will do a giveaway maybe Friday, maybe Sunday. We'll see. Maybe next Wednesday. Although I think this coming Monday is a giveaway live stream. No, it is not. So April 1st, April Fool's Day, is the first Wednesday of the month. If I remember, we'll do a giveaway for an Anoyatron, and then 2 of the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft motors. One of the giveaways will have a purple ORT Micro V in the 60 millimeter length, sent to me by Jesse from Tiny Whoop. The Tiny Whoop order I did a couple weeks ago had this in there, and he threw in a stamp, and he said, hey, for a giveaway, use the stamp. So yeah, I'm going to use this stamp for one of my orders, but I'm going to throw this in with the giveaway with this other stuff, because I wouldn't be able to cram these propellers and this Anoyatron into an envelope. It's kind of nice because I literally ran out of stamps today, shipping a bunch of Etsy orders out. So I'm going to steal this stamp and put Jesse's very kind giveaway item into a much bigger giveaway with some Weebleed stuff. So Tiny Whoop and Weebleed teaming up to keep you guys, filled up with lots of cool stuff. That sounded weird. Don't make it weird, bro. Don't make it weird. All right, so yeah, there's my little giveaway pile. In the chat, Nathan Wells says, Newbie Drone 1202, 11,420s are in stock. Yeah, I'm very tempted to get those, but I did not have very good luck with the Newbie Drone 1102s. They were very heavy, and they didn't seem to make much power. And so man, it's so tempting because, like, I kind of like this Max Frames M2 is on HGLRC 11,000 kV 1202.5s. And even on these itty bitty 2-inch props, these make too much power. And so the Newbie Drone 1202s, maybe they're just right. Maybe they'll make the exact right amount of power. But again, I had a hard time with the 1102s. They did not make as much power as the Beta, anywhere near as much power as the Beta FPV 1102s, or even some of the 1002s. So I'm holding off on the Newbie Drone 1202s. I actually sent Newbie Drone a message, and I haven't heard back, saying, hey, actually, I used to talk to Kelvin over there, but I haven't heard from him in a while. And so I messaged their main channel. I said, hey, who's handling affiliate stuff? And that's what I haven't heard back, because I was going to say, if they get back to me, I'm going to say, like, hey, you've had your 1202s out. You want maybe a little bit of publicity around them? Send me a set and I'll put them in a build and do some testing. And if they're good, a bunch of people will probably buy them. But yeah, haven't heard back yet. Hope all is well with Newbie Drone. They've been really kind to me as well. FPV says they're the 1.5, but 3 months of super heavy crashing. Nothing have lasted me even close to this long. Okay, I've been flying like it's The Sim. Ooh, nice. Matrix is holding up as far as I can tell. Very cool. Nathan Wells. Oh no, we got that. Denzel the Terrible says we got that. Nyafu says, I found a guy offering a Mavic 4 Pro Creator Edition, $3,300 for $1,200. Jesus, I'm so tempted to buy it. Seems legit, and it's almost brand new. Boy, is it tough when things seem too good to be true. Speaking of, during the live stream during Monday's live stream, this website, DJINYC.com, had an 04 Pro air unit in stock for $230. Somebody had told me about it over on Etsy in an Etsy message. And I hit the link and I saw the price and I saw like this the price seems too good to be true, and then like there's this CamRise logo here, but then it's DJI NYC, and I was just sketched out, and I was like, you know what, like yeah, nobody's selling them for $229. It's probably bullshit and rip off and blah blah blah. They had messaged me, no, it's legit, and I replied that, and then I live streamed and whatnot. And then after the live stream, I saw the string of replies saying, no, it is legit. I ordered from them already and it arrived. And I read that message and I was like, oh shit! I clicked over and it was sold out. I'm like, no! And so I'm leaving this opened. And I don't know why the hell I'm telling you guys about it, because now if it comes back in stock, one of you bastards are going to buy it. But, you know, hey, whatever. But yeah, this is DJI's New York office, basically, which I've seen before when I was in New York. It was you, Nathan Wells. I thought it was you. Thank you, by the way. Yeah, when I was up in New York last year or the year before on our little family tri-state tour, I walked right past the DJI office up there. So yeah, I'm leaving this opened in a tab and hoping that it doesn't say sold out at some point and I can get a 04 Pro for $230. I didn't even remember that they were this cheap. When I saw this price, I was like, nah, dude, that's like, yeah, I didn't remember. This is what they originally sold for. This is what they should sell for before Agent Orange and the Legion of assholes ruined everything in Cheeseburger Land here for us. Nathan also sent me a link to this over on CiottiFPV. This is a CNC case for the 04 Pro camera that A, makes it fit in 03 mounts, B, which are smaller, so you don't have to run a giant, you know, mount for your giant 04 Pro camera, but B, this is CNC apparently. One of the problems that people are having in freestyle with the 04 Pro is that the camera cage is plastic and it's breaking. This camera cage is breaking. And so CiottiFPV did two things. They made it way smaller and easier to mount, and they also made it apparently a lot stronger. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. $30, which is a lot, but it's, you know, if it saves this camera, it'll pay for itself. For us in just absolute about to ruin the world land here. The shipping is going to be a little bit nasty, apparently. CiottiFPV, supposedly shipping to the U.S. is brutal. But again, having something like this that saves this camera from imploding could pay for itself. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. And these are the antennas that I think I'm going with. It's hard to find, Jesus Christ, it's hard to find DJI antennas. And then I also realized, like, oh shit, I should probably get these dual. I don't know if I have to get these dual band antennas, but I'm kind of gonna. With DJI, they use these dual band antennas, 5.8, 2.4, because their transmitters use 2.4, and then the video uses 5.8. I believe if you don't hook up the transmitter side and you just hook up the video side, it only uses 5.8. But if it doesn't, and it's trying to use 2.4, and you're not using a 2.4 antenna, it's going to get hot. Also, I can't find any other 145 millimeter antennas. So I'm going to get these dual band antennas. I'm torn because, like, a dual band antenna won't work as well as a single band antenna. But again, I can't find any other 145 millimeter antennas in stock, and I just need to do this order now. So I'm probably going to put this Pyrodrone order through tonight and get a couple of these guys because I absolutely need them for the Cine 3.5. I'm also kind of annoyed that this is a dual plug antenna. I don't want to do that. I would rather get two of these antennas and just use one of the plugs so that I can run the dual antenna setup like I have on the 30. But that's fine. I'll figure it out. Again, I couldn't find I couldn't find another 145 millimeter antenna in stock here in the U.S. that I can get within a couple of days. Super annoying. My God. And that's all I got for. Oh yeah, and then the other thing, the other big pain in the ass, I get this guy, the 2.5-inch Raxus build that I switched the motors on the other night. I go to fly this today. And when apparently, I didn't realize this, but when the ESC exploded on this, when I tried running it on 6S way back when, apparently it grenaded one of these motors. And these are motors that are now out of stock everywhere. These are Axis Cine 145s, C145s, and they're not in stock anywhere in the US. And so I was scrambling all around. I actually found them on TBS's website. I was about to order them, and then I said, you know what? Let me look. I looked at my normal places where I keep my extra motors, and I didn't have an extra one, and I was very confused because I almost always buy 5 motors instead of 4. And then right at the last second before the live stream, actually, I remembered that I have this little box over here where at one point I was buying one of every motor. At one point I thought that I could buy all the motors. I thought I could buy one of every motor. And then if somebody needed a motor weight or whatever, I would have them. I went in that fucking box, and lo and behold, I did buy 5 of these. The most annoying shit on earth, though, is that in that box, in order to get motor weights, I've trimmed all of the motor leads down to this exact length. I think it's like 2 centimeters from the stator base. And so my extra motor has these stupid ass little short motor wires. So I'm going to have to extend these motor wires because it's the stator that blew up. So that's going to be extra annoying, but it's fine. I would so much rather have to do that than place this TBS order and wait a few weeks for it to get this thing up in the air. So that was, I was so happy that this was in there. Manufacturers, I know you're not watching, but if any of you are, for the love of God, stop making new motors and then discontinuing them. Stop it! Make a fucking motor and sell it for 5 years, for Christ's sakes. Jesus. It's like every year, everything in FPV gets discontinued and all new. Oh my God, it is so obnoxious, so absolutely insane. All right, rant over. Let's build an indestructible tiny whoop. This will be a pretty easy build because the 2G4 is the shit and the motor plug is already on it. So we're basically just going to drop this in, plug a bunch of stuff in, and away we shall go. Before I push it down on the frame, though, I've even got the screws in the frame because this is a lightly used frame. So the first thing you do with a 2G4 is actually plug the camera in. I've got a Runcam Nano 3 here in an old school Module 6 upside down ball sack canopy. This canopy is as close to indestructible as you're ever going to get. This canopy also makes the frame stronger. This canopy bolts on all 4 corners here, and it literally becomes like a structural member of the frame. That's what she said. So yeah, I absolutely love this frame. The other thing that's cool about this frame is that when you're flying forwards and you turn sideways, there's a lot of surface area here to slow yourself down and then corner. So when you run this frame, your builds are even more like a razor. They just go exactly straight all the time. This frame, along with this Cockroach 65 V3, this canopy rather, along with this Cockroach 65 V3 frame, this is the combination that gives you the easiest to fly and the most accurate indoor tiny whoop. It's not going to be the fastest, but if you're flying freestyle, who gives a rat's ass? And to be honest, I would rather have a slower tiny whoop for freestyle so that your indoor space feels bigger, right? Look at that. Look at how much plastic there is to block the air when you're flying forwards and then you turn sideways, right? It really makes it dig in nice, and it gives you a super accurate tiny whoop. It's like kind of the key to the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop formula that I've figured out over the last 3.5 years. So we're going to plug our Runcam Nano 3 in first here. If you don't like the Runcam Nano 3 as a camera, tough shit. No, you can put different cameras in this canopy. Here's the thing, though. This canopy is heavy. Of course it's heavy. It's strong, it's big, it's tall. This Runcam Nano 3 is the lightest of any of the cameras. And so this camera in this canopy is a really good combination. If you put like a CO3 into this canopy, like I've done here on one of these outdoor builds that's actually for sale, the camera canopy combo becomes kind of heavy. And for indoor stuff, you do want to try to keep the weight down. And so, in my opinion, just get used to the Runcam Nano 3. You can get used to it. It has a little bit less field of view. It's going to actually make it a little bit easier for you to line gaps up because of that. So just get used to it. If you can't get used to it, I get it. It's all good. Run a different camera or run a different canopy. So this is the 35 millimeter. Yeah, and there's no way to get that to clear. I didn't think so. So what I'm actually going to use is one of my 46 millimeter available on my Etsy store, red, what's that called? ORT Micro V antenna. I don't have to install it right now, but I will, because otherwise I could forget. Usually I run it through this hole in the canopy here. I'm going to try running it out of the lower hole in the canopy to keep the antenna from standing up so tall. It's going to hurt the performance of the antenna, but it's going to hopefully keep the antenna from clipping things that I fly really low under. So yeah, I'm going to start to kind of try that. The reason why I'm doing this now is it's a little fiddly plugging this UFL in. And I'm not wearing my nerd goggles, so I kind of can't see what the hell I'm doing. What you then want to do is put... Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get E6000 all over myself. But never, ever, ever trust these UFLs. Always take your little fine-tipped E6000, which you can get from any of the Tiny Whoop stores, and put a nice little blob here, either on the UFL itself, or lately I've been putting it on this part of the wire here, and just put a nice little loop of it to hold the antenna on. You want the strength of the antenna to be this E6000 rather than the UFL. That way you won't rip the UFL off or lose the antenna. More common, you'll just lose the antenna, which is annoying. And so here's what I've been doing lately. I used to just do a big ass blob on the UFL itself, and that totally works. But lately I've been doing this, and this seems to work as well. See that little blob of E6000 there? A little bit farther down the antenna. That seems to work just as well. Cool. Sorry to any headphone users, although you died from that, so you can't hear me apologizing. I just can't with this goddamn Logitech camera sometimes. I just can't. That's what the cool people say, right? I just can't. Am I cool now? Am I cool now because I said the thing that the every single other cool person says? Does it make me cool when I say the things that everyone else says? Is that how it works? You got to pull this duct in a little bit to clear the camera plug on this setup. But then once you get it over there, the duct is at an angle and it sits totally fine. So don't be weirded out by that. I've had this set up absolutely forever, and this is actually one of the cleanest setups. In theory, there's no black box on it, so you kind of can't tell, but I'm always able with this 2G4 in this frame to crank the PIDs to the effing moon. So like it must be relatively clean in order to be able to do that. You know what I mean? All right, so now we're going to drop this canopy down and throw a couple of screws in it. I do like to just trim a tiny little bit of material off the back of this foot. You'll see it comes really close to the UFL. I'm sure you don't have to do this. This is me being a lunatic, but if you're going to be crazy, you might as well be crazy all the way. So I just come in here with a pair of flush cutters and just shave the slightest little bit of material off the corner there. I didn't used to do that, and it was always fine. So again, I'm pretty sure you don't have to do that, but yeah. Crazy people, bro. Crazy people gonna crazy. Alright. So, let's just get this going. That's gonna be on there. I just want to round this little corner out, and I got a sharp edge. There we go. Okay. I need some screws for this guy. Do I have any on the workbench here? Of course not. Alright, so... Oh, God. I made a mess. Alright. I actually sell these little canopy screws on my Etsy store if you ever need them. There is a specific screw to hold this canopy down that Happy Model sells. I've got these, I don't know where I got these from, but I have a slightly longer version of these screws that I will use that I don't have enough of to sell on the old Etsy store. But yeah, the regular old Mobula 6 screws are totally fine. The impacts on this canopy push it down. They don't push the canopy. They don't try to rip the canopy off. So me running these longer screws is mainly because I change so much stuff on these when I'm doing all the testing for you all that I strip the posts out eventually. And so for me, running these slightly longer screws fixes that issue. For those of you that aren't testing stuff 4 times a week every week, you won't have to worry about that. You can get the regular screws. When you get this canopy, it'll come with the screws though, so you probably won't need to get them from my Etsy store. But God forbid you can't find the Mobula 6 canopy screws, I've got you covered. I've got all kinds of stuff like that on the Etsy store. All kinds of like weird stuff that either you didn't know you needed or you needed but you couldn't find. So yeah, I think there's like 3 pages of stuff on my Etsy store now. There's a lot of stuff in there. You'll surely find something that you'd like. And then, hey, do me a favor. If any of you have like a friend that's trying to get into FPV, and if the old school DJI Vista is the best entry point for them, which I think for a lot of people it is because they're awesome, they just work, they're bomb-proof, and you can get them all over the place. I've got a set of the old school DJI goggles for sale on my Etsy store that I would absolutely love to sell. So yeah, if you got a new friend getting into this shit, Vista's the way to go. I run Vistas on all my like freestyle stuff. Basically anything that carries an external HD camera, I just run the Vista. Like it's awesome. It just works. And I don't know if anyone's ever killed one. I truly wonder if the Vista is actually indestructible. Patrick has one that's been like in the ocean twice, not the ocean, in the lake twice, that he's just absolutely tortured, and it's just like, cool, beat me more, daddy. That's going in the V3 sound pack. Hey, does anybody want to take over the live stream caption duties? If you do, go right ahead. Just leave a comment on live streams with the timestamps and whatever captions you want, and then I'll start dropping them into the descriptions. If you're going to do that, though, make sure somebody else hasn't done it first. Look at that. We're almost done. All right, so the AIO and the canopy are ready to go. Tiny Whoop, Weebleed, and Happy Model Motors on the plugs will either have a red dot. Oh, you can't see that. There you go. The two middle, there you go. They will either have a red dot or they will not have a red dot. The red dot goes on motor 1 and 4. If you do that, you won't have to change your motor direction. It's not a big deal, but we'll see. I might not have to put this thing into beta flight at all. This was a flying rig. This was a working rig. Quick little tip there. If your props in, that is. If your props out, then you're going to put them on the others. You're going to put them on 2 and 3. I don't know why my allergies are such a goddamn mess. There's no reason because it's pollen season. That's why. I hope you guys like sniffling, because I'm going to be a sniffly bastard for the next month, probably. Oh my god, I'm going to rip my fucking nose off with sandpaper. Come on, stop it, nose. You idiot. Okay. Motors on here. And then we're going to have some fun flying around, seeing how this thing is. I've got a 40,000 kV version of this build that maybe we will back-to-back it with. It is on the wrong props right now, but maybe I'll show you the grappler in action and pull those props off, because I do have some Gemfan 1219s with the 1mm motor shaft. All right. And there we go. All right. One more motor after this, and then we are going to put Stabilant 22 contact enhancer on the plugs for this AIO. I still do have a bunch of that for sale over on my Etsy store. Little tiny vials of 0.5 ml, which will last a lot of these AIOs. I know it seems like an impossibly small amount, but you only need to use an impossibly small amount on these things. I will show you in a minute. You're literally going to use a needle or a pin to apply it. You're going to dip the needle or the pin into the liquid. A little tiny bit of the liquid is going to stick to the pin because of surface tension, and then you're going to wipe that around on the infinitely small little pins in here. Lately, I've been using this pick that I've had forever, and I haven't had a good use for. And so you're not going to get it in this bottle. You're going to get it in actually a nicer little vial for doing this. But in this bottle, what I do is I just put 2 little drips into the cap here, and then I just dunk this little guy in there, and a bunch of it sticks to it. And then we just come in here and just get a little bit of it on the pins. 1, 2, 3. Put it back in here. 1, 2, 3. And then this side, we got, come on, get in there. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Get out of here. All right, 1, 2, 3. And then what I like to do, just in case not quite enough is getting on there. I do that from the left pin to the right pin. I come back through and I go from the right pin to the left pin. 1, 2, 3. So far, I've seen between a 4 and 6% improvement in power and or efficiency from using this stuff, and there's like no reason not to use it. So like, get you some. You'll be supporting the gangliest gangle in all of FPV, and you'll get a little bit more runtime and power. All right, almost good to go. Last one here. And like, if you're doing this and you're not convinced that the pin is actually picking up any of the liquid, all you got to do is hold your finger out and then rub it against your finger, and it'll leave a little wet trail on your finger. Because it is kind of hard to see a clear liquid against silver, but yeah, your finger don't lie. All right, and that's after I put it on a bunch of the plugs. You know what I mean? So yeah, there you go. Stable at 22, friends. Cool stuff. It's expensive though, and when they sell it in a very, very small amount. So, but I did the hard work for you. I got it. You have to mix it down in a very specific ratio, with 99% isopropyl, and yeah, away you go. It is the same theory behind thermal paste. For the same reason that you use thermal paste on your CPU processor, and if you don't use thermal paste, your CPU processor will absolutely implode. It does the exact same thing. Metal is not perfectly flat. If you want the maximum contact patch between metals, you have to add something. And so this Stabilant 22 is not for transferring heat, it's for transferring electricity. And that's how it works. It just gives you a better contact patch between the two metals. Pretty cool stuff. All right. And because I cut it with the because you have to cut it with 99% isopropyl, it dries like right away. So you can do this and then immediately plug shit in. You don't have to wait for it to dry or anything like that. And there we go. I really prefer motor plugs. I've found them to be more durable, and it makes, for me, it's a no-brainer because I do so much testing. I'm constantly switching motors in and out. But for you, if your motors are easy to switch out because they're on motor plugs, you're going to run fresher motors, right? Like, you're going to be more willing to swap motors out if you think that there's one that's kind of beat up. And if you think it's beat up, it is beat up. Right side high, and then give me a left side high, yo. Oh, those are all right high. Give me the other propeller, you bastard. Where is it? There's one. No, that's not it. There's one. Oh my god, where? Well, now I got two. Great. One of the other super helpful things that I sell over on the Etsy store is pin vices with 1.47 and 0.99 millimeter drill bits. Before you put any propeller on, run it up and down one of these drill bits to make sure that you're not putting a propeller on that's too tight. That is one of the best ways to ruin a motor shaft, is by putting a propeller on that is too tight, because you're going to have to take that propeller off at some point. And if it was too tight when you were putting it on, holy shit, are you going to have to fight to get it off. And it's going to suck. And it's one of the easiest and best ways to bend tiny whoop motor shafts. These are 1.5 millimeter shafts, so it's much less of an issue, but it's still an issue. And it's just annoying as hell when the propeller is on there too tight and you got to struggle to get it off, and like you ruin the propeller when you're getting it off. It's, you know, it's a situation that should not exist. So do something about it, yo. Always push the propeller all the way down on the motor shaft. That way the propeller is up against the motor bell. So when the propeller gets pushed sideways, it's not up off the bell bending the motor shaft. It's against the bell. It's going to give you the most, like, it's going to give you the best chance of not bending your motor bells. This is also why when you use a regular fork-based prop puller, it's tough, because in order for the propellers to not bend the motor shafts during crashes, you really need to push the prop all the way down against the bell. Yeah, that makes it hard to get that prop off. So it's one of those double-edged, one of them there double-edged swords. Okay. This is looking good. Oh, that's the 0.99 millimeter drill bit. I'm so used to using the 0.99 mil drill bit on these 1.2 inch props. Okay. And last one. If the drill bit is not moving enough, removing enough material, the trick is to not spin it. Put it on there without spinning it, and then pull it off without spinning it. That'll remove the most possible material, just like that. All right. Come on, get on there. There we go. And last one. Look at this, all red and clear build. Holy cow. This looks pretty nice. That red ORT is looking all good. This is the one that I didn't drill out quite enough, and I can immediately tell. Come on. There we go. All right, cool. And yeah, see, so by putting the ORT Micro V through that bottom hole there, it's going to tuck it down. Usually what I do is I put it through this middle hole, and it sits up, which makes it perform really good. It basically sits up like that. And it makes it perform better that way. But sometimes what happens when I'm flying along is if I'm shooting like a really small gap, it'll hit this. And that annoys me. So yeah, I'm messing around with it down lower now. We'll see. We'll see how it is. What I'm worried about is that it's going to go over in the duct and get into the propeller. But it looks all right. So there we go. There is a potentially indestructible tiny whoop. Let's beat it up some and see how it does. It is 11:45. I was hoping I could get that done a little quicker, but all right, here we go. Let's see first off if the motors are going to spin the right direction. Okay, and what do we got here? Oh man, I gotta take these. I know I shouldn't have added these songs to the. Why are the rear motors not spinning? Why are the rear motors so tight? What the hell? Oh, they're just rubbing on the ducts. If you have props and or motors that are rubbing on the duct, put them in a turtle mode and see if you can get them spinning. And if you can get it to spin, it'll self-clearance. Clarence. Be careful, though. Don't go full stick on turtle mode trying to get them to spin. Just give it a little push in turtle mode. See if you can get it to spin. Where is it rubbing? It's rubbing on the outside of the duct. This is a used frame, so this frame is a little bit warped. So it's rubbing on the outside of the duct. So I'm going to push the motor in. And now, there we go. And so you hear it, right? So just go full stank. And it self-clearances. When you're in turtle mode, it's sending thrust upward, which bends the blades downward. And so when the blades bend downward, the duct is like this. So the blades go down into the duct and they rub themselves in. And so now we're going to do that on motor 1 as well. Just push it inwards. I didn't even look where it was rubbing. I just assumed. All right, let me actually look where it's rubbing. Where are you rubbing, you bastard? There it is. It's rubbing out here. So we're just going to pull it inwards a little bit like that. Come on. Oh, shit. It might be rubbing on the... Hold on. Let's see what's rubbing here. It feels awful. You can also like kind of to get it going. This one does not feel right. I think the C-clip is rubbing on the... Oh, yeah, no. The C-clip is rubbing on the frame. God damn it. I haven't had to deal with this in a while. These Happy Model motors, sometimes in these Newbie Drone frames, if you've over-tightened the motor screws on these frames, the plastic can kind of squish in and rub against the C-clip. Super, super, super annoying, but totally fixable. You're going to get a 9/64 drill bit. Take the motor out, take the screws out, and you're going to take a 9/64 drill bit, and you're going to just clearance this center hole a little bit. Kick these screws out of here. Come on. I've had that drill bit sitting on this workbench for probably like 2 years. Literally today, I moved it from this and I put it back into the garage. Hang on. All right. Here we go. And I mean, you're using a drill bit that's just a little bit bigger than the bottom of the frame. That's all. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure it's 9/64. And you're just going to run it through here. It's going to remove a little tiny bit of plastic, and you're going to be back in business. Like that. There you go. You'll see it remove a couple little chunks of plastic. And now you're good to go. Screws back in. Yeah, Newbie Drone uses a giant C-clip on the bottom of their motors, which I absolutely love when I go to do a bell swap on their motors. It makes it so much easier. But Newbie Drone made the center hole in their frame here just like a fraction of a millimeter too small, because their motors use an itty-bitty C-clip that is an absolute nightmare to remove. So yeah, super common situation in the car world. One company that makes upgrades for a car will tighten up a tolerance for use against the stock whatever, and then another company that makes another component that interacts with that, they'll tighten up the tolerance as well. And so when you try to run those two different manufacturers' parts together, they don't work because they both made them try to work perfectly with the stock stuff. It's exactly what's happened here. So much better. Yep. And so now we're good to go. Before you arm these, always just spin all 4 motors. If you've got one that's rubbing like that, you'll feel it. It's very, very obvious. This one might actually be rubbing a little bit. Here's how you can kind of tell if they're rubbing. You just use your ear. Throw a battery on here. You go into turtle mode, and you just spin each motor up. And they should all sound the same. the pitch that you hear goes up as the RPMs go up. So if I arm it, if I put it in turtle mode and arm it, and we do all 4 motors, they should sound the same. All 4 of these sound a little bit different, actually. Hear that pitch? Wah! And then this one. Wah! This one ain't spinning as fast. These front 2 are the same. No. 4 and 1 are the same. 4, 1. So these 2 have no resistance. 2 and 3. 1 and 4 have no resistance. 2 and 3 have a little bit of resistance. But we don't have time, so we're just going to fly it. I'll fix this afterwards. This is a battery that I didn't really charge. Hopefully it flies okay. 280. Lava V2 first. I don't think all the motors are spinning in the right direction. I think that's why it tried to fly out of my hand a second ago. Let's find out real quick. Yep. Yep. Hey. Hold on. Let's go into beta flight real quick. Get the motor spinning in the right directions. Oh! That's why they're making different pitches. Because certain motors are spinning the right direction, other motors are not. That's why they're making different pitches. The propeller will sound completely different spinning it forwards versus backwards. We're going to redo that test after I get these motors spinning the right direction. Motors tab, let's plug a battery in. Ow! Ow! Jesus. All right, motor direction. Start and spin. Oh, can you fucking not be an idiot? There it goes. Motor 1 is correct. Motor 2 is incorrect. Motor 3 is incorrect. That makes sense. Those 2 are incorrect. Motor 4 is correct. So motors 2 and 3 were spinning the wrong direction. Those are the ones that were making a completely weird sound. Where's the PID tune at on this thing? Super conservative, but we'll just leave it alone. All right. Here we go. Let's try this again. Beta FPV Lava 280 V2. Lava V2 280, I should say, I guess. Let's redo that test. Turtle mode. Motor 1, 2, oh boy, 3, 4. 3 is still struggling a little bit, but it's way better than it was a minute ago. Here we go. Oh, you fucker. Why? Oh. Are the propellers not on right? They are. Why? Did I not hit save? What? Oh, I'm gonna have to do it in the an ESC configurator, aren't I? What was it? 2 and 3 that weren't. I didn't test them after I just clicked the button and assumed that they started spinning the correct direction. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So let's just come in here and 2 normal. Oh, nope, shit. 2 normal, 3 normal, right settings. Updating ESC2. God, I gotta turn the transmitter off. Okay, there we go. That should be good now. Stop playing the song! Alright. Danzilla, that's the wrong battery. God damn it. The propeller is way more efficient in the correct direction versus the incorrect direction, which I think has a lot to do with it. And so it'll literally turn a higher RPM. It also makes like a shitload more thrust spinning the prop in the correct direction. All right, let's try this goddamn again. What? Oh, the transmitter's still off. You! All right, once more with feeling. Come on, ELRS, connect, you bastard. You bastard. Oh, I forgot to hit the button on the controller. Stupid low battery warning, old controller bullshit. Hey! There he is. Nope, that ain't lined up right. But I don't care because it's indestructible, yo. Oh god, oh no. Man, you thought I crashed a lot normally. I've got an indestructible build now. Oh my god. Oh god, I hit myself in the head. Ooh. Oh, I didn't quite make it. Didn't quite make it. Nope, again. Having the 1.5 mil, I usually, there we go. I usually care a little bit about, like, not just absolutely hammering the shit out of these. I don't care at all. When I have these, when I have a motor with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, there is not a single fuck given towards not crashing this thing, which like is good and bad. It's bad because it creates more crashes, but it's good because I can do crazy shit when I'm not even remotely giving any thought to it dying, you know what I mean? Hey, Pachuco! As you can see, the 32,500 kV motors have plenty of jam. That was a hard hit. That hit the edge of the cymbal. Oh, God. Oh! Get in there! These newbie drone gates are like a little bit smaller, and it makes such a difference. There it was. No, no, no. No! Don't fall down back behind there. It's hard to get out. No. Yes! So this was a 280 mAh battery from Beta FPV. Oh, look, the antenna got pushed down a little bit. That's interesting. Oh, it's jammed in there. Oh, okay. That's something to look out for. I'm actually going to push it upwards a little bit. G Wolfman with a $10 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, watching you deal with frustration issues me feel so much better. Thank you for all your pain. You're certainly welcome, my friend. It is my pleasure to be in pain for... Look, we're in pain together, friends. There's nothing like FPV when it comes to frustration. Oh, there really is nothing like it in the world. All right, let's do a... we're going to do a quick-ish battery test. I'm going to take 3 fully charged batteries, 280, 320, and 340. I'm going to go upstairs, and I'm going to go full throttle and we're going to see what RPM we get. Let's see. We'll do this real quick. This is a 280. Lava V2 280. This is the longest run in the house. And that's what we're going to do. Come down. Oh, God, no! 56,475. 56. Let's just call it 56.5. 56,500. 56.5. That's a 280. Now we're going to do a 320. 56.5. Oh my God, my nose is just so fucking bad. Oh my God, I hate you, allergies. Go to hell. 56.5. Just typing it into the chat so I can hopefully remember. Here comes a 320. We do this for real in the air to let the propellers unload. As the craft flies through the air, it gets incoming air. If I just hold this in my hand, it has to take static air and move it. This is why thrust tests are only so valuable. What do we got? Wow, 56.6. Very close. Let's try the Weebleed 340. And I'm actually going to fly this whole battery. I'm going to fly this whole battery so that we get a runtime. I'm going to take this 280. I'm going to put it back on the charger. I'm going to take that 320 that I just ran. I'm going to put that back on the charger as well. Here's a Weebleed 340. I've banged up these props already. I got a little bit of jello. All right, let's see. Woo, boy. It wasn't super clean. Let's try it one more time. That was way better. All right, let's fly this battery. Well, let's check the number first. Whoa! What? I was not expecting that. 58,954. Okay. 58,9. There you go. Not nearly. We're going to do that for real in the future, but interesting first result. In fairness, these Lava V2s are not absolutely brand new. I've probably cycled them like 5 or 6 times. The Weebly batteries are absolutely brand new. Cycling a battery 5 or 6 times should not really have any negative effect on it, but you never know. Beta FPV claims that the Lava V2s are resist sag better and all kinds of stuff than previous batteries, and I've done a little bit of testing with them, and they did, but I've never compared them to this new Weebly battery. So very cool stuff. If this is a true 340 mAh battery, then it would make sense why it is turning more RPM. When batteries get down into this small of an amount of milliamps, they don't perform all that well. And increasing the number of milliamp hours in the battery helps it quite a bit. Any battery below 450 mAh, they just don't, like, above 450, you don't really get this effect nearly as drastically. Like a 450 mAh versus a 550 mAh battery, there's hardly any difference between those two. But 450 versus 400 versus 350 versus 300, you start to see the batteries just perform better, that have higher milliamp, that have more milliamps. I usually try to land at 3.5 at a dead hover. Ooh, I got a little confused on that one. Oh, it got hit. I can't believe I hit the ground. 3.51. Close enough. 2 minutes and 45. I could have probably flown that for another 15, 20 seconds, but good time to swap it out. So that was a Weebleed 450. Sorry, 340. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, okay. This is a Lava 320. Early signs are good with those Weebleed batteries. Impressive. Oh my God, stop playing the song. So now I'm not going to do this battery is going to last longer because I'm not going to do a big full throttle blast at the beginning of it. Let's see if we can get more than 3 minutes. Again, these are the Weebleed 702. Oh! I threw that one with a bit of a hope and a prayer. I got very awkward there. Man, I can't believe that one went through those gates. That was cool. Tedwardo, what are you doing? What are you doing, small dog? Oh, God. No. Oh, God. Get me out of here. No! So, every once in a while, we're getting a little bit of prop wash. So, let's come in here to simplified tuning. We're going to go up 0.2 and 0.2. And if it doesn't start trying to fly away on its own, which it's not, that's going to kill a little bit of that prop wash. We might do that again. We'll see. Yep. Nope. We got some at 0 throttle. Hey! That was a proper splash cymbal hit there. At 0 throttle, it was getting a little bit upset a second ago. And so, for these props being as beat up as they are at the moment, we are at the limit of the tune. Since this AIO does not have black box, it's hard to know if this frame has a little bit of a resonance. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run this frame on one of the Matrix AIOs that does have black box. And I'm going to see if there's any weirdness. I'm going to see if there's any frame resonance. And then I can come into this tune and drop a notch filter at that same frequency, and it might help this out a little bit. Hey, these are also not brand new motors. I've had these for a long time. And I had these on a 1.4 inch build that I was flying pretty hard. Ah! Didn't realize that gate was so close there. Oh, I tried to get out of there backwards. Nope, that was not lined up correctly. Oh! Oh, just made it. There we go. Oh! Almost got that full sequence. Oh no, I'm behind the shelf. Oh God. No. Please. Teddy, help me. Teddy, get me out of here. Yeah! There he is! There he is! What you got, big stuff? Come on, bring that shit on, dog. You got nothing. You got nothing. There we go. We got over 3 minutes as I crashed into the light. Oh, doggy, take it easy. 3 minutes and 12. There we go. Without that big full throttle blast, we got a little bit more life out of that battery. What time is it? Oh, it's 12:10. There you guys go. There's 3 different batteries. 280 obviously didn't last as long. The 340 would have probably lasted just about as long as one of these 320s. maybe next Wednesday at some point here, we will do another, we'll do a full live stream testing Lava V20, Lava 320 versus V2 versus 280 versus these new Weebleed 340 mAh batteries. But damn, dude, these cranked out an extra 2,000 RPM. That's real, dude. That's okay. I was not expecting that. I was expecting them to have a little bit more runtime. But yeah, I'll take it. Shit. 10 out of 10. So there you go. There is about as close as you're going to get to an indestructible Tiny Whoop. Let's check one thing. So we had a little bit of jello at a couple, at like certain throttle amounts. I don't know if you guys could see it through the live stream. I could see it ever so slightly in the goggles. Let's see if one of these propellers is bent up from all those crashes. So the way that you do that is, again, with turtle mode. So you just fire it up. You go into turtle mode. Come on. You go into turtle mode and you spin it up really slowly while you're holding it. And you feel for vibrations. You can only do this on Tiny Whoops. Spin up each motor individually. So motor number 2 on the right front has a little bit of vibration to it, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So yeah, the jello could be this camera not being mounted totally solid, or it could be a little bit of a frame resonance. Seems like the camera's in there pretty good. It's not very noticeable, and like it's analog footage anyway, so like who cares? It's not trying to fly away on its own though. And so yeah, the tune is pretty good. I'll play around with it a little bit more. In the chat, let me get caught up a little bit here. Nyafu says, oh no, we got that. Denzel the Turbo says, Vista and V2 goggles is the unicorn. I know, man. It's just, they just work. They just work. And like the latency is not that much worse than any of the other HD systems. They're bomb-proof. The goggles are really comfortable. The screens look great. Like it's just, yeah, man. The Vista and the old school, I used to call them helmet goggles. Boy, they're just the jam. Nyafu says you're using the heavier V3 frame. Indeed, I am. The clear ones and PC are PC and weigh almost 1 gram more. Yeah, I like the softer ones for the less weight. I didn't weigh this. It's not going to be light. This is probably going to be 18 point something grams. Sure enough, it's almost like I've done this before. 18.7 grams. So it's a heavier setup. You know, you can buy an Air V2 that is 17.7 grams, like a full gram lighter, but it ain't gonna be as durable as this. Those 1mm motor shafts are absolutely gonna bend, unquestionably. It also doesn't have a really nice antenna like this on it. It's got a better camera, I will admit. I don't like the frame as much. This Cockroach V3 frame I like better than the Air 65 V2 frame for flying indoors. For flying outdoors, I actually like the Air V2 frame better because it's got a thinner duct on it. And there's a bunch of blue hair in this thing already. Thanks for hanging, friends. That's my Indestructible Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. The Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop formula, the frame selection, the AIO selection, the canopy, the camera, that has just come from years and years and years of trying all different setups and finding one that works really well together, is super durable. But the weak point has always been the motor shafts. The 1mm motor shafts have always been the weak link. Having good modern propellers that use the 1.5mm shaft is really, really awesome. I'm super looking forward to the GemFan 1207s. That's gonna be They're as lightweight as the HQ ultralights. These 1219s are a little bit heavier than the HQ ultralights, so you're leaving a little bit of performance on the table. Tyler says, how do I purchase a Whoop from you that you have for sale? I forgot to mention to you on the original question. Just message me, CiottiFPV.com. There's all my contact info, whatever's best for you. Email. For me, Instagram and Discord are the best, but there's also email, Facebook, whatever works for you. I'll eventually get back to you. You Can FPV says, I've accidentally stabbed my hand pulling a prop off the bit like that. My hand flung back after pulling it off. Yeah, I've stabbed myself more times than I can count. That's the worst. The worst stabbings are always with the fine-tipped tweezers. Whoa, God, these hurt. And it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. And Yafu says, oh God, $1,400 worth of 04 Pros is stuck in the lowest rated post office in a 500 kilometer radius, 2.8 stars, and only because they bottled the 5-star reviews. 70% 1-star reviews. Oh my God, going today to pick up. Scary. Ant Batch says, I have that Menace RC Patch 2. Is that the best for analog in your opinion? Not really. It's just purple. Patch antennas are all so good that, like, I don't really know if maybe like a super hardcore long range person might be able to tell the difference, but like for me, man, if you get a patch antenna pointed directly at your quad, almost regardless of where that quad is, you're gonna get really good signal. I literally bought this because it was purple. Yeah, I think like a patch antenna is a patch antenna, so get the one that looks the coolest as far as you're concerned and be happy. And then Jimmy the Cow says moo. Wayne Hunter with a $5 super chat. He says, what's up, man? Thank you, brother. Thanks to everybody for supporting me. Join my Patreon. That's the best thing that you can do. I do not monetize any of these live streams because the commercials are just way too much. And so, you know, hook a brother up. Join my Patreon. Since I didn't monetize these, I save you a bunch of time from watching commercials. Cool? Be good friends. Here is some flying from sometime in some place. Jesus Christ. What happened to all... Oh, that's right. I had to restart the computer. Hold on. New tab. OWC. 2026. Random ripping. Here's me crash testing my 3-inch frame. No, this sucks. February 16th. What's this? Just ripping around the yard? Cool. But I don't know what I'm flying here. Hold on. Hey, RC Drift. Here we go. The most recent time I went RC drifting with the 04 light rig. Be good, people. I'll see you on Friday.
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy Spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Bit fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, they zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shotty's on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight.
fuss, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Yo, Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle Mike. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive, Teddy. Push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep. Yeah, CiottiFPV, Teddy's spaghetti, diamond at duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy's spaghetti. Barking at the breeze, falling at top speed things, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Ciotti and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV's fur-faced legends singing loud. Yeah, Teddy's spaghetti and CiottiFPV.